What happened when an undercover CEO uncovered corruption festering within her own prestigious biotech institute? Hello, brilliant viewers. Today we're diving into the gripping story of Serena Caldwell, the visionary CEO of the Biotech Research Institute. When whispers of exploitation and favoritism reached her ears, Serena decided to go undercover to reveal the truth. What she discovered was a shocking culture of manipulation and injustice, led by her own top scientist. But instead of walking away, Serena took bold steps to rebuild her institute's foundation on ethics, transparency, and genuine innovation. Stay tuned to see how Serena transformed betrayal into triumph. Dr. Serena Collins stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of her corner office in Boston, her gaze fixed on the shimmering skyline but her mind elsewhere. As the founder and CEO of Riverside Medical Research Institute, Serena had dedicated her life to building a cutting-edge organization where innovation, integrity, and collaboration thrived. Over the years, her institute had grown into a prestigious hub of scientific research, known for its groundbreaking work in immunology, genetics, and biomedical engineering. Serena took pride in her open-door policy and her commitment to fostering creativity among her researchers. However, recent complaints had cast a shadow over her success. Reports of unethical practices within the immunology department, led by Dr. Marcus Hale, had surfaced with alarming frequency. Allegations of plagiarism, manipulation of research findings, and mistreatment of junior researchers plagued the department's reputation. Serena had initially dismissed the concerns as exaggerated grievances from overworked staff, but the steady stream of complaints persisted. Frustration gnawed at her as she recalled her last conversation with Dr. Hale, his arrogance palpable as he waved away her concerns. "They're just ambitious kids who can't handle the pressure, Serena," he'd said with a condescending smile. "We can't let every complaint distract us from real progress." His dismissive attitude only intensified Serena's worry. She had trusted Hale for years, valuing his ambition and intellect, but now she questioned whether those traits had morphed into something far more toxic. Determined to uncover the truth, Serena made a bold decision. She would go undercover. If the complaints were unfounded, then her investigation would only strengthen her faith in her team. But if there was merit to the accusations, she owed it to her researchers to confront the problem head-on. Abandoning her executive privileges, Serena devised a plan to pose as a research assistant under a new identity. Her mission was clear: to observe, document, and if necessary dismantle the culture of exploitation and favoritism that had been allowed to fester under Hale's leadership. Serena knew the risk was great, but the stakes were higher. She couldn't let corruption ruin the institute she had built with her own hands. Serena transformed herself into Rachel Martin, a quiet, aspiring researcher fresh out of a small, lesser-known graduate program. She traded her tailored suits and polished heels for practical sneakers and simple attire, her hair tied back in a loose, nondescript ponytail. Forgoing her usual authoritative tone, Serena adopted a soft-spoken manner, her eyes downcast to avoid drawing unnecessary attention. Armed with fabricated credentials and a modest application, she approached the immunology department as a hopeful candidate, eager to gain experience. To her surprise, Dr. Hale's assistant, Victoria, barely glanced at her resume before ushering her into the lab. "We're short-staffed, so just follow Dr. Hale's orders and keep your head down," Victoria instructed with a brusque tone, her eyes already moving past Serena as if she were an afterthought. The dismissive treatment stung, but it confirmed Serena's suspicion that the department operated on a rigid hierarchy, where new hires were meant to be seen, not heard. She was assigned to a small, cramped workstation at the far end of the lab, away from the main research team. Her tasks were menial at best, organizing data sheets, cleaning equipment, and running basic tests with no room for creativity or personal input. But Serena welcomed the obscurity. It allowed her to blend into the background and observe without interference. She kept meticulous notes on every interaction, noting the strained expressions of junior researchers and the hushed, anxious conversations that hinted at something far darker beneath the polished surface of Hale's operation. The more Serena observed, the more determined she became to uncover the truth. Settling into her new role as Rachel Martin, Serena began forming quiet, careful connections with the other researchers and assistants. Most of them were overworked and underpaid, their enthusiasm for immunological breakthroughs stifled by Dr. Hale's harsh, dismissive leadership. There was Alan, a nervous but brilliant young researcher who spent long hours perfecting his experiments, only for his work to be routinely dismissed by Dr. Hale as lacking rigor. Then there was Maya, a single mother juggling late-night shifts at the lab with parenting, her exhaustion palpable, but her dedication unwavering. Maya's work ethic had earned her respect among her peers, but only disdain from Dr. Hale, who seemed to view her family commitments as a sign of weakness. Serena also met Jasper, an intern desperate for a recommendation letter, who often accepted the worst tasks without complaint to avoid Dr. Hale's infamous temper. Despite his eagerness, Serena noted how Jasper's creativity was constantly stifled by micromanagement and unreasonable deadlines. The more Serena observed, the clearer it became that the lab was ruled by a toxic atmosphere of fear and favoritism. Those who dared to speak up were reprimanded, their concerns dismissed with casual cruelty. Maya confided in Serena during a lunch break that Dr. Hale had once threatened to withhold her research funding if she continued wasting time caring for her child. Alan admitted that he'd considered quitting multiple times but felt trapped by the fear of losing years of progress and credibility in the scientific community. Jasper's desperation for validation was evident in the way he threw himself into every task, his eyes constantly darting to check whether Dr. Hale was watching. Despite their shared frustrations, the researchers maintained a fragile sense of camaraderie, supporting one another in small but meaningful ways, covering shifts, sharing resources, offering words of encouragement when things felt bleak. Serena listened, her heart heavy with the realization that Dr. Hale's tyranny had not only damaged their professional growth, but also eroded their passion for the work. Serena's resolve deepened. This wasn't just about uncovering malpractice. It was about restoring dignity to a team of talented individuals whose brilliance was being systematically crushed. As Serena delved deeper into the day-to-day operations of the research lab, the extent of Dr. Hale's exploitation became painfully clear. Through quiet conversations and careful observation, she uncovered a pattern of unethical practices designed to maximize productivity while ignoring the well-being of the team. Alan's reports were often altered by Dr. Hale before being presented to investors, his findings twisted to exaggerate progress and secure more funding. Maya's requests for more flexible hours to balance her work and family responsibilities were continually denied, with Dr. Hale insisting that true dedication meant sacrificing everything else. Jasper, who should have been receiving mentorship as part of his internship, was instead used as a glorified errand boy, his creative input disregarded entirely. Serena's most disturbing discovery came late one night when she found Maya alone in the lab, eyes bloodshot from exhaustion. Maya admitted that Dr. Hale had been pressuring her to work off the clock to meet impossible deadlines, threatening to cut her research funding if she failed to comply. Worse, when Maya had attempted to speak up about the unreasonable demands, Dr. Hale retaliated by slashing her hours and undermining her work during lab meetings. Serena's own observations supported Maya's claims. She had seen Dr. Hale dismiss legitimate concerns with biting sarcasm, his temper flaring whenever his authority was questioned. Alan had also revealed that Dr. Hale routinely took credit for the team's collective efforts, presenting their findings as his own during conferences and interviews. The more Serena listened, the clearer it became that Dr. Hale's abusive practices were not isolated incidents, but a systemic problem permeating the lab. He wielded his influence like a weapon, exploiting the team's dedication and ambition while offering nothing in return but intimidation and false promises. Even Jasper, who was desperate for validation, admitted to Serena that Dr. Hale had repeatedly belittled his work, claiming he lacked the experience to contribute anything of value. The unfairness of it all ignited a fire within Serena. As she documented each incident and gathered testimonies from her colleagues, she knew she couldn't simply observe any longer. It was time to confront the man who had twisted what should have been a sanctuary of discovery into a breeding ground for exploitation and fear. The day Serena decided to confront Dr. Hale was one marked by the simmering culmination of her observations, interviews, and relentless pursuit of truth. She arranged for a lab-wide meeting, ensuring that all team members, including Alan, Maya, and Jasper, were present. As they gathered in the sterile, fluorescent-lit conference room, Serena's calm but unyielding presence dominated the space. Dr. Hale arrived last, his expression one of thinly veiled annoyance. "I wasn't informed of this meeting," he snapped, his eyes narrowing at the unfamiliar woman standing before him. Serena's voice was steady as she introduced herself, revealing her true identity as the CEO of the company funding the research lab. The shock on Dr. Hale's face was almost gratifying, but Serena kept her composure, her focus unwavering. With the team assembled, Serena began her presentation, meticulously laying out the evidence she had gathered. She started with Alan's manipulated reports, showcasing how Dr. Hale had twisted data to fabricate progress and deceive investors. Alan's eyes widened as Serena presented emails, documents, and altered graphs that had been submitted under his name without his consent. Serena moved on to Maya's exploitation, detailing how her requests for work-life balance had been ignored and how her reduced hours were nothing more than a punitive measure to silence her concerns. Maya's eyes glistened with emotion as Serena described the injustices she had endured, her gratitude and disbelief clear in her expression. But it was Jasper's plight that truly rattled the room. Serena revealed how the young intern's potential had been stifled under Dr. Hale's arrogance, his ideas dismissed, and his contributions belittled. Jasper looked down, embarrassed and overwhelmed, but Serena's compassionate gaze encouraged him to speak. With trembling words, he confirmed Serena's findings, recounting his experiences of being used as nothing more than a gopher despite his talent and dedication. Dr. Hale's initial shock shifted to anger as he attempted to discredit Serena's investigation. He claimed that her findings were exaggerated, that the employees were simply ungrateful and incompetent. But the evidence Serena had gathered was irrefutable, and with each denial, Dr. Hale's credibility crumbled further. When Serena finally confronted him about his manipulation and abuse of power, the man who once commanded the lab's respect was reduced to defensive stammering. His authority was dismantled before the very people he had exploited. Serena's final words were delivered with calm precision. "You have failed these people, and now it's time to make things right." With Dr. Hale's corruption exposed, Serena wasted no time implementing immediate reforms to restore the integrity of the research lab. She officially dismissed Dr. Hale from his position, his employment terminated on grounds of unethical conduct and abuse of power. Ensuring transparency, Serena held an open forum with the entire lab team, inviting them to voice their concerns and suggestions without fear of retaliation. Alan, Maya, and Jasper each took the opportunity to share their experiences, their relief evident as Serena listened with genuine empathy. Serena established a dedicated ethics committee within the lab to prevent future misconduct, tasking Alan with leading the initiative. Recognizing his integrity and technical expertise, she appointed him as the lab's new director, ensuring a fair and inclusive environment under his leadership. Maya was offered a flexible schedule and the resources she needed to balance her work and personal life, her talents finally recognized and appreciated. Jasper, too, was encouraged to pursue his innovative ideas, Serena granting him the mentorship and creative freedom he had been denied. Serena's reforms extended beyond personnel changes. She introduced regular evaluations of leadership, mentorship programs, and transparent communication channels for all staff members. The oppressive atmosphere Dr. Hale had cultivated was dismantled, replaced with an environment where creativity, collaboration, and respect thrived. Serena's decisive actions demonstrated her unwavering commitment to fostering a workplace where everyone's contributions were valued, proving that true leadership meant empowering others to reach their fullest potential. Recognizing Lila's talent and passion for environmental research, Serena took special care to ensure her creativity was no longer stifled under the rigid, oppressive regime Dr. Hale had enforced. She invited Lila to a private meeting where they discussed her experiences and frustrations in detail. With gentle encouragement, Serena reassured Lila that her ideas and insights were valuable, deserving of both respect and recognition. Encouraged by Serena's sincerity, Lila shared her innovative research concepts, approaches to microbial engineering that could significantly enhance the lab's efficiency and sustainability. Serena was impressed not only by Lila's creativity, but also by her dedication and resilience, qualities that had been overlooked for too long. Determined to support Lila's growth, Serena provided her with the resources she needed to pursue her experiments freely, including advanced equipment, mentorship from senior scientists, and the opportunity to lead a new project focused on eco-friendly advancements. Lila's excitement was palpable, as she finally found herself in an environment that encouraged innovation rather than stifling it. Over the following weeks, her progress was remarkable. Serena's faith in Lila's potential inspired a newfound confidence that fueled her success. The lab's revitalized culture of openness and support allowed Lila to thrive, her achievements celebrated by her colleagues rather than dismissed. Serena's efforts not only salvaged Lila's career, but also proved that nurturing creativity and integrity would ultimately lead to groundbreaking advancements for the entire lab. With Dr. Hale removed and Lila's creativity flourishing, Serena dedicated herself to restoring the Biotech Research Institute's original mission of integrity, inclusivity, and innovation. She initiated sweeping reforms to address the toxic culture Hale had allowed to fester, prioritizing collaboration and open communication throughout the facility. Serena established transparent procedures for project approval, ensuring that talented researchers like Lila were encouraged to share their ideas without fear of dismissal or exploitation. Weekly meetings were introduced, where all team members could voice their concerns and present their findings, fostering a supportive environment where creativity was both valued and protected. Serena also restructured the Institute's hierarchy, promoting individuals who demonstrated both expertise and empathy rather than those who merely wielded authority. She implemented new training programs focused on ethical leadership and conflict resolution, recognizing that healing the lab's fractured culture required more than just policy changes. Serena's commitment to inclusivity extended beyond internal reforms. She also reached out to former researchers who had left due to Hale's oppressive regime, inviting them back to contribute their skills to the revitalized institute. Within months, the Biotech Research Institute began to reflect Serena's vision. New discoveries emerged from collaborative efforts, morale soared, and the facility's reputation was steadily restored. Serena's leadership had not only salvaged the Institute's future, but had also built a thriving community where creativity, ethics, and innovation were genuinely celebrated. Months after Dr. Hale's removal, the Biotech Research Institute had transformed into a beacon of innovation, collaboration, and ethical leadership. Under Serena's guidance, the toxic culture Hale had fostered was replaced by an atmosphere of mutual respect and creativity. Researchers who once feared sharing their unconventional ideas now felt empowered to explore bold, cutting-edge solutions without fear of dismissal or ridicule. Lila, once an outcast, had become a key figure within the Institute, her groundbreaking research projects gaining recognition both internally and in the wider scientific community. Serena maintained her hands-on approach, regularly visiting labs, listening to her staff's concerns, and encouraging them to push the boundaries of their work. The weekly meetings she had instituted continued to foster transparency and inclusivity, ensuring that every voice was heard and valued. The improvements were not just superficial. Serena had established a lasting culture of collaboration and fairness, one that drew praise from both employees and external partners alike. As the Institute's reputation grew, so did its impact. Funding opportunities expanded, collaborative projects flourished, and talented researchers from around the world sought to join Serena's revitalized institute. Serena reflected on her journey from concerned CEO to undercover investigator, and finally to a leader who had reclaimed her vision. Her commitment to integrity, creativity, and compassion had paid off, transforming a broken institute into a thriving, and Serena vowed to never again let exploitation or complacency threaten the integrity of the Biotech Research Institute. The story of Serena Caldwell's journey to restore integrity at the Biotech Research Institute highlights powerful lessons about leadership, ethics, and the value of inclusivity. By going undercover, Serena discovered that trust alone is not enough. Leaders must actively engage with their employees, listen to their concerns, and remain vigilant against exploitation. Serena's experience demonstrated that neglecting the voices of hardworking individuals can allow corruption to thrive undetected. The story also emphasizes the importance of fostering an environment where creativity and collaboration are valued over rigid control and personal agendas. Dr. Hale's downfall illustrated how arrogance and favoritism can stifle innovation, while Serena's compassionate leadership created a thriving institute built on respect and open communication. Ultimately, Serena's transformation of the Institute proves that true leadership is about empowering others, promoting transparency, and standing firm in one's ethical convictions. Her decision to address systemic issues head-on, rather than dismiss them, revealed her genuine commitment to positive change. The lesson is clear. Integrity, empathy, and accountability are the foundations of lasting success, and leaders who prioritize these values will inspire loyalty, creativity, and resilience within their organizations.